good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. This is Codebase Alpha. This episode 60. It's a impromptu pop-up stream, and we're looking at something other than what we've looked at before. Hi there. In chat, your child has bad positions due to small number of viewers. Okay, well I don't need promotion, thanks. So I'm fine. I don't need many viewers. I'm happy as I am. So as I was saying, what was it? Yes, so this is not the usual content. So we have been working on our synthesizer projects, and unfortunately, I've hit a really big problem in that the software I'm using, which is called RackAFX, it doesn't seem to be playing well with OBS. And not only does it mean you can't hear the synthesizer, even though it does play. I'm starting to strongly suspect that the issue we had in one of the episodes where we had random characters that kind of just filled the screen, I'm strongly suspecting it's RackAFX and it's problems with OBS that's causing that. I seem to think that maybe port audio, which is what RackAFX is using, is wanting exclusive access to our sound card, and obviously we need to share it with OBS. So I'm kind of put that project on ice for the foreseeable future until I can figure a way around it. So either I'll have to move the project into Juice, which may not be feasible, try to go RackAFX 7, but that may not fix the problem, or just basically not continue with that project, which is a great shame because it was proving quite interesting to work on. So what I thought we'd do is return to our text adventure for a couple of episodes, and then on Monday we're going to start another series featuring Morton, or FuelSnable as it's known in chat, and we're going to be looking at WebGL shaders. So we're going to start off with some 2D shaders, make some nice shapes and rotating colours and things, and then move on to 3D and ray tracing. So hopefully that will be several streams worth of content where we can look at that, and in the meantime I'll be able to either fix the problems I've got with the synth, or move on and start a brand new independent project. So that's the kind of situation we're in, and that's why I'm decided to go back in this episode and maybe another pop-up over the weekend to looking at the old school text adventure. Okay, so let's have some music in the background. So I hope that's not too loud. Should be okay. Looks meters look okay. So I haven't streamed at all this week until now, mainly because, well, the two things. On Monday it was a bank holiday, and I needed a break. Work is really difficult at the moment. I'm getting quite stressed out by work, and I think I'm heading towards making myself ill if I'm not careful. So I do need to kind of chill out when I can. I also wanted to try and catch Starhopper's launch, and that didn't happen till the following day, but it did launch, and it was pretty impressive stuff. Even though I think at the end of the kind of demo, it did fall apart a bit, which is quite interesting in itself. Bits fly off at the end. And then on Wednesday I was just too tired to continue to stream on that day. So I'm hoping to kind of cultivate the art of not caring so much, which is very difficult. I mean, I'm highly invested in my work and in my company and in the success of this project, and it's very hard. One of the things you may find in your development careers is that it's great to have control over what you're doing, and then when you start to bring third parties into the equation, and they're doing a lot of the work, and you're kind of trying to follow along with that, you lose a lot of that control, and that can be quite hard. And also you feel like you've got no grip on a situation, and when you start finding issues, it can kind of snowball. So I'm really trying hard not to care so much about it, which is against my nature. So okay, well, let's pop with that preamble. Let's pop over into the code, and I'll tell you what we're going to do today. So let's go to coding. So here we are. We dropped into code, and we can ignore this message in chat here. It's just someone who's trying to Trying to get me to pay for something, I guess. I'm not interested. Okay, so we're up now in our text adventure. We're looking at the Oriental room, and you can see the Oriental room's got an exit which we haven't created yet. So it's commented out. It's somewhere going to the Misty room. So what I thought we'd do today is create a few rooms. So if I go to the map, we'll zoom into this. So I thought what we would do is, you can see here's the Oriental room here, and there's a passageway that goes north off here to the Misty Cavern, and then west to the alcove, and then to the Plover room, which has got an emerald in it, and to the Dark room. And this is part of a famous text adventure puzzle called the Plover puzzle, or conundrum, whatever. And it's to do with this alcove and the entrance to the Plover cave itself. This is a very narrow entrance, and in order to pass through that entrance, you have to drop every item you're carrying, including your lamp. And so when you pass through, you are completely in the dark. And the Dark room is by definition dark, and there's an emerald in here and a platinum pyramid in there, nice treasures which gives you plenty of points. But actually moving around here is quite dangerous, because you could fall down a pit and die. And actually finding your way around obviously is difficult. So I thought we'd tackle that, at least the start of it, which will be to build these rooms, and also to build the movement rule, which means that in order to pass from the alcove to the Plover room and vice versa, you need to be carrying no equipment at all. Your inventory needs to be empty. So I thought that would be an interesting example of a conditional move, and we'll figure out how to actually achieve that. So the first thing we're going to do is build the actual room. So we've got 4 rooms to build: Misty Cavern, Alcove, Plover and Dark room. So let's build those, and we can use Code Rush, which is the tool we use for productivity, to help us build those. So if I go into this class here, which is my Oriental room, I think what we'll do first, before we actually do that, is define the rooms we want to build in our location enum. So the location enum is here. It's simply a list of all the rooms. So we're going to add into here Misty Cavern. Let me spell it correctly. Alcove. Assume we haven't got alcove already. And then Plover room, and Dark room. And you might be wondering why it's called Plover room. It's because that's another magic word, and we'll have to implement that magic word, which is quite simple to do. But it's we've got X, Y, Z, Z, Y, and Plu as our magic words. There's another magic word which would be Plover. We probably won't get around to doing that today. Okay, so over in our environment, in our Oriental room, I can use a Code Rush shortcut here. So if I type new dungeon room, NDR, new dungeon room, and spacebar, then it creates a class for me, and the class is going to be the Misty Cavern. There we go. We can tab through here. Name is going to be Misty Cavern. If I spell it correctly. Short description. So I've got some text from the original game here of the just across to the side here, so we can get the actual. What we're trying to do here is actually produce something which is in keeping with the original adventure. So in Misty Cavern, and then the long description. Is this text here, and let's see what it looks like. So we need to obviously put a few fixes in here. So this is saying that we're in this cavern. We're actually following a path around the edge of a large cavern. There's water splashing below, which is causing the mist. Okay. So let's format all this code. And that. And exit to the south and west. There we go. So there are no items in this this place, so we can leave items empty like that. Up here in our move for the Oriental room, we can now uncomment this and actually move ourselves into Misty Cavern here. Misty Cavern, and it is yeah, up or north would be fine, and the word cavern is fine as well. Okay, so that's the movement sorted. Now we need to set the levels, so it's going to be level 1, and it is by nature dark, so that's fine. There is water here, but it's so far below that we're not going to mark it as being a source of water. So all there is there's water far below. Okay, so now we need to look at what the moves are out of this room, and basically there's moves south and west. So if we go back to the map, you can see we're in this room now. We've got south, or south and down, I guess we could say, goes back to the Oriental room, and then west will go along this winding passageway to alcove. So let's sort that out. So NPM, new player move space, gives me that, so I can now put in a move of down or south, which is going to go to Oriental like that. So down, we'll have south. Yes, like that. That'll be fine. That'll move us back into the Oriental room, and then we want another new player move space, and this is going to be to alcove like that, and this is going to be west. I think down actually is not right, because down would probably indicate we were climbing down towards that source of water, and that's not what we want the player to think they're doing. So let's just go here and remove down from there. Okay, so that seems okay to me. So what we can do is use Code Rush here and move this to its own class, move type to file. So that's now in its own file. And you notice what it's done, it's brought all the usings that are required, and the namespace, it's brought all that along with it. Okay, so let's create another room, which is going to be the alcove room. So new dungeon room space, and here we are. This is going to be alcove, and you notice Code Rush is filling in the word alcove in all the places where that's applicable. So let's see what text we have for alcove. This is alcove. We are in an alcove, and the longer description is this description here. Right. Let's sort this out. There we go. So a small northwest path seems to widen after a short distance. An extremely tight tunnel leads east. It looks like a very tight squeeze. An eerie light can be seen at the other end. Okay, so now we need some moves. So we can go backwards to the north, to the northwest, I think it is. So if we go look at our map, let's zoom in a bit on the area we're interested in. Here we are. So it indicates we've got this east movement into the plover room through the dark, the tight squeeze, and then we've got a northwest move back into Misty Cavern. The eerie green light is being shed by the gem here, the emerald. So this is going to be a room which has got its own light source, but dark room is beyond. And of course, if you squeeze through here and you've got no lamp, then you can recover the gem here, but you can't. You're going to find it very difficult to get into the dark room because you could fall down a pit or something. So let's do that. So a new player move, and this is going to be to Plover, and this is going to be to the east. Now we're not going to leave it like this, but for now we're going to just put it in as if it's an ordinary move, and then a new player move. Oops, that was Plover. Okay. And then we want a new player move again, and this is going to be back to the alcove. This is going to be back to Misty Cavern rather. So Misty Cavern, and this is going to be here. This is going to be north west. Or NW. Okay, so we've got that. Let's move. Let's have a look. So we need to say that this alcove is going to be dark and it's on level 1. Like that. So remember that under our kind of rules for our wandering monsters, that level 1 is the level where the monsters can walk around and you can encounter the wandering monsters. They can't go to level 0 and they can't go to level 2. So that's kind of why we're marking this as level 1. You may come back and actually change it to level 2, but I think we're okay with level 1. I'm just going to use my highlighter on my own map here to mark up the areas we've actually coded so far. Okay. So once again we'll use Code Rush here to move this type into its own file, like that. Oriental. And let's now create the Plover room. So once again, new dungeon room space, and this is going to be Plover. And the name is going to be, what do they call it in the game? What can they call it? Plover. Plover room. In Plover room. And the long description is this. So it basically says we're in a room with an eerie light, and that there's a narrow corridor going to the northeast and a tight exit to the west. An extremely narrow exit to the west, that's right. Okay, a dark corridor is northeast, and that is going to go to the dark room. So valid player moves, so new player move is going to be this is going to go to alcove. Once again we're going to need to change this, and this is going to be west, and W there, and then new player move, This is going to be to dark room, and this is northeast. Okay. So now we need to change these. So this is going to be level 1, but it's not dark. So one of the few places in the underground portion of the dungeon that isn't dark. It's lit by the eerie green light. Now what we're going to have to do when you remove the emerald, we're going to have to try and switch this to being dark is true when the emerald isn't in place. Copperbeardy, welcome to the stream, good to see you. Thanks for joining. I'm up against Jeff Fritz who's on at the same time on this pop-up, so I'm not expecting a large number of viewers. Here's one of my new emotes. This is a new Alf emote. If you look down by where I am, you can see Alf there is thinking about the code we're doing. So thank you for joining, Copperbeardy. Here's Alf giving you a sharp salute. And then he's back to thinking again. Okay, so yeah, I quite like the salute. It's the brand new Alf emote. So hopefully one day we'll get enough subs to be able to actually offer that as an emote to chatters. Okay. So while we've got these two things on the screen, it's worth looking at this move. So the first move we need to kind of consider is that one, the move from the alcove into the plover room, and then the move back again from the plover room back to the alcove. Now, as I said, the Jetsam, welcome. Thank you for popping over. So Alf will give you a nice smart salute as well. Welcome, Jetsam. Thank you for joining. Obviously, C# Fritz's his stream is probably more compelling than mine. It's got a larger following and that. So, but we struggle on. And this is a pop-up stream after all, so I'm not expecting people to know that I'm on or to join. Really, I just want to make sure, try and get a stream in this week because circumstances have really kind of prevented that. Okay, so yes, as I was saying, this move here that we've got, it's a squeeze rather than an ordinary move. So currently, the player would be able to move between these two rooms unhindered, but we need to make it a bit of a puzzle, and it's a combination puzzle. So it's one of these puzzles where several things kind of chain together to make the actual puzzle. And when you know the answers, it doesn't seem that difficult, but. So as I say, it's a squeeze to pass through this this tunnel that goes between these two rooms. Then it means we have to drop all our items. So you can be carrying nothing in your inventory in order to make that move. So we're going to need to have a new class to do that, like a squeeze class or whatever. So I gave some thought about this. We've got a player move. We've got a player move thing here. So it inherits from player move. We've also got a random move, which is another type of move that can be made, so where the player kind of says they're going north, and where they end up is determined by the roll of a dice. So random move, where's random move live? It's going to be, is it in commands? No. Where random move lives then? We need interfaces open, so we'll do that. So the bot that we're working in, the alpha bot, is quite big, and sometimes finding where things live is somewhat difficult. So we don't want those interfaces. These are the interfaces we want. Here's the player move interface. So where is... Let's go to a place with a random... Oh, there's random move there. Okay, so that's random move. So let's go to iPlayer move, and we're going to add a method to this that all implementations of player move are going to have to provide an implementation for. So let's call it. So let's have it return a tuple. So we have a bool and a string. So it's going to. But what we're going to do is say the bool is going to say yes, you can make the move, and no, or no, you can't. And the string will be some kind of message, which will populate if the boolean value is false, will populate a reason why you can't make the move. So so that tuple is it, and it will be can move. And what to pass into can move? I want to keep it kind of as generic as possible, because who knows what we're going to use this kind of method for in the future. But what we can do is pass in iAdventure player, so we can have things about the player, and also we can pass in a copy of the read only adventure game. So there could be things about the actual game itself. So I can't remember what that looks like. If we go over to our events section, we should be able to figure that out. So event manager takes a player. I read only adventure game, that's what we want. I thought it was. I read only adventure game. That'll be game. Okay, so that'll be the thing we're going to pass through. Okay, so that's our interface sorted. So let's go and implement those for player move and random move. So we're going to need to do that implementation, so let's get it to implement it for us. There it is, and we're simply going to return true and string.empty. Like that. And we'll make that into a fat arrow method, and we can just grab that now, and we can put that into random move as well. There we go. So that satisfied our interface. So we should be able to lose these now. So let's take a copy of this class player move, and let's call it squeeze move. So in all respects, it's basically the same as an ordinary move. However, what we're going to do is we're going to move this into its own file. Use the code feature move type to file, and in here we're going to define the method. For the moment, we're going to return true and empty string. Like that. We're going to come back and fix that. Okay, so over in alcove, this is the move into plover room is going to be a squeeze move. Like that. And so we'll then move back to the alcove. Like that. Okay, so we've got the basics of it there. What we need to do now is go to our move command. So our move command is over here, and we're going to need to actually evaluate our can move method when we invoke the player move. So here in this piece of the code, we're looking at the player's current location and grabbing all the valid moves. So if there are any that match the direction the player has said they want to go, then basically we get the first one that matches, and then we make the move. So we only want to make that move if once we've made a check on can move. So can move is down here. So it's unfortunate that we've called our method can move. So let's go and think about that. Is can move is move valid? No, that's not right, because this is where names get difficult. Is move valid is no good because we're actually getting things from a collection here called valid moves. Is move possible? Possible move? Possible move. Let's think. Let's rename this. Is move allowed? Okay, so that'll update all our references. So over here now we've got is move allowed as our method name. So let's go back to the move command here. So in here we want to invoke the move dot is move allowed. So move dot is move allowed should be there, and we're passing an instance of the player in, which we should have an instance of that, and the game. Have we got the game? Underscore game, perhaps. We've certainly got game here, and I suspect if we go to the base adventure command, yes, then game gets sent to underscore game, so we're fine on that respect. So using underscore game to pass into our method is fine. So we want a var, and I don't remember how to deconstruct the tuple off the top of my head, but we'll try it like this. Move allowed and allowed text. That's a bool, and that is a piece of text. That's fine. Okay. So now we can say here if move allowed, then we can go off and do all of those things below, which will be this little lot here. So if I highlight that and press B, then CodeRush will put braces around everything for me. So there we are. So we've got a method. So if move allowed actually comes back as false, then we want to do something here, and basically we want to print out the text. Let's pinch this piece of code here, pop that in there, and we'll say that whatever text came back from our method, which will be not allowed text, we'll push out to chat or to the message client movable. It's kind of like portable movable though, Copperbeardy. I think is move allowed isn't great. Let's ruminate on that. If the legendary Moo was in chat, he could ruminate for us, but let's think about it. Nothing's kind of striking me. It's a bit like can move allowed. It's legal move. Once again, we've got valid moves here, and kind of saying legal move. Yeah, it's a problem, isn't it? Keep thinking, chat, and if you come up with any brainwaves, just pop them into chat, and you never know, we might come across something. Okay. So that should take care of evaluating our new function that we've created, our method. The squeeze move now needs to actually change. So what we need to do, we need to take a look at the player and see if they've got anything in their inventory. So let's have a look. So if player dot inventory dot count equals 0, then we can return true and string.empty. If that's not the case, this is a nice simple kind of constraint, but you can imagine that we could get quite complicated. We could have, do they have this item and that item, and these various game variables, and have events happened in their event log, so we could control their movement quite closely, actually, with any degree of complexity. Now we've got access to the status of our player and to the status of our game, so it's pretty flexible, this, and it's going to be a very simple method, but kind of opens a new world of possibilities as far as puzzles go. We can get really devious, but we'll keep it quite simple to start off with. Right, so here, if they've got nothing in the inventory, they can pass through unimpeded. Else we're going to say that var message is going to be something along the lines of it's far too tight to squeeze through the gap. Whilst you are carrying things. Try dropping what you are carrying. Let's just split that up a bit. There we go. And then we can simply return false and message. Okay, so let's test that functionality. If we get the map again, so we're going to want to test moving between the alcove and plover. And what we're going to do is we're going to set a teleport up so that we can teleport directly to the alcove and then try and make that move and make sure that that code is working fine. So let's do that. Over in our commands, we have our teleport command, which is purely a test command. And here we want to make sure we teleport. Currently we're teleported to the debris room. This is going to be alcove. Okay, we've got some items. We're going to pick up some items. We've also got some treasure. We're going to have some diamonds and some coins. We're going to activate the dwarves. We're going to pick up an axe. We're going to open the cave and score 25 points for having penetrated beyond the entrance caves. So that's all kind of previous testing. All we're really worried about here is the fact that we're going to be going to the alcove and we have got items with us. So let's run up the game and see what happens. So you're going to get a message in chat, which you could ignore. I'm going to use Slack to control the game. You remember the Alpha bot, which is the bot that we use normally on stream. That's a Twitch chat bot. It's also a Discord bot and a Slack bot. So it connects to all of those areas at the same time. Okay, so Alpha bot accepting commands. So we can type our adventure command adv, and we should join the adventure. There we go. So that's over here. No, it's Alphabot's conversations are here. So you can see we're here at the end of the road. If you've played Colossal Cave as a text adventure, this is what it is. It's the oldest of old school text adventures. The very first, probably. Certainly the first that became widespread. It used to spread around on proper hard disks and not floppy disks, but magnetic disks and things like that, on mainframes and on tape. So that's how I first played at university, on a mainframe. Okay, so let's go in. We have to prefix all our commands against with ADV. This is something I do want to try and fix, but we're not going to be doing that just yet. So go in. We're in the building. Let's have a look around the building. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. We're going to do ADV take all. This is a command that we set up a couple of streams ago now. Take all and drop all. So it's going to list everything we've just picked up. So we picked up a key, a lamp, a bottle, and some food. There's water here as well. We could fill the bottle with water, but we're not going to do that. We are going to light our lamp. Actually, can we do lamp on yet? Don't know if I did that. No, we didn't. That's another one I want to do. So there are certain commands where having the verb first is a bit clunky. Like, you want to say lamp on, lamp off, really, don't you? Rather than light lamp and extinguish lamp. But I haven't figured that way of doing that yet. It's a word ordering thing. So verb noun is the kind of rule at the moment. Let's light the lamp. Should have a nice shiny lamp. If we type INV, that gives us our current inventory. So we've got. That's interesting. Oh, the lamp is lit. Lamp is lit. Yes, that's fine. So now we're going to use our teleport command, which is our testing command, to teleport to the alcove. So we teleport to the alcove. So let's have a look. So we're in the alcove. Small northwest pass seems to widen after a short distance. An extremely tight tunnel leads east. It looks like the very tight squeeze, nearly likely to be seen at the other end. So let's go east then, shall we? It's far too tight. Okay, so we've dropped through here. We've dropped through into an area where we don't want to be. But we have got the right message. It's far too tight to squeeze through the gap while carrying things. We need to fix that spacing there. Try dropping what you're carrying. So let's try that. ADV and drop all. Lamp turns off when we drop it, which is part of the rules that we set up. ADV go east. Okay, so we're in the plover room, and it shouldn't be dark in here. So it's pitch black. If you move around, you probably fall into a chasm or something. It's interesting it came up with that message. That's because we're moving from a place which is lit. That's fine. No, that's okay. We made it into the room, and it's a lit room. So what have we got to fix? We've got to fix the fact it dropped through into some text output we didn't want. There was a space there. Everything else seems to work okay. Okay, so let's get back here and sort that out. Okay, so I think we're back in the move command here. We want to actually return at this point. We don't want to drop through into the to these. This is the wrong information that got printed, so we're going to drop out at that point. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap those two lines round so that the location is printed first and then the text. And then there was our squeeze move had a bit of a problem. We need to put a space at the end of there, so that's sorted that out. Far too tight to squeeze to the gap which you're carrying things. Try dropping what you are. Dropping what you have with you, and maybe just be you could get through. Okay. So back at alcove. So let's have a look. Just enrich some of this a bit. So here we get the opportunity to put some text which is printed out when you make your successful move. Cody Beard, welcome. Afternoon. Welcome to the stream. Have an Alf salute to welcome you to the stream. So Alf's still thinking about this code. He's not quite sure. I just need to shut down that. There we go. So we have the opportunity in this area where it says string.empty to put some text which is printed when you actually make the move. So we could say you breathe in and make yourself as thin as possible. And we can have the same text when you make the move in the opposite direction. Okay. So the other thing is this is dark. We need to put the emerald in here. So there's an emerald, a nice emerald treasure item. So let's go and have a look at our items. First thing we need to do is add an emerald to our enum, like that. We need to then create an emerald class. So let's find a treasure item. I don't know, some oh, that's interesting, the gold nugget. Let's use the gold nugget. What we can do is, I don't think I've got a, have I got new dungeon item? New dungeon item. I do. Oh, this is emerald. I do love Code Rush. It's great. So this is a full item with an interaction on it, which is, yeah, the interaction is going to be tricky, I think. Shining green. Shining emerald. And then shining emeralds. Just in case the plural ever comes up. So we have the opportunity to add an interaction. So interactions are when we actually when we want to do something using the item, and I don't think it's particularly applicable at the moment. Let's get rid of that. What we do want to say is treasure though. Is portable is true as well, so is treasure is true, and is portable is true. It's just that, yeah. And we'll get rid of the the override for interact for now. So we do have to give some thought about when we take this emerald. It should no longer have this green light within the room that the emerald came from, because presumably you pocket it, which is interesting. Yeah, so we could try giving a player a status. We have currently I think we only have encumbered as a status, or we might have dead. Let's have a look. Yeah, so we've got dead, has light, encumbered, hungry, thirsty, hurt, and won. A lot of those we're not using yet. So we could try using a status, or we could have an event. We could have an event that gets created when you pick up the emeralds. But I'm not sure what the solution to that is, so we'll probably leave that for today. Okay, so that's our emerald. Let's move that into its own file. And we can get rid of the nugget and the squeeze move and the event manager and iPlayer move. And player move. We now need to create an instance of emerald. And we have an item factory which does that. So there's two different ways that we operate with our kind of with the things that make up the dungeon. So with items, we create instances of them because we need a bit more control. There can be just an ordinary, just like this, a piece of treasure, or we can have singleton items which exist in two places at once. So both sides of a door. So that's a singleton. There's only one door. So whether you're on the one side or the other side, it's the same door. So we need to create those differently than how we create dungeon rooms. Dungeon rooms are created using reflection. So we look at all the dungeon rooms which are in the assembly and create all those through a loop which uses reflection. Here we need to actually create them individually, and you can see here's an example of one of these singleton items, a grate. This is the grate which blocks the entrance to the caves, so you can be on the outside world side of the grate, or you can be on the dungeon side of the grate, but it's still the same grate, so we create one of them. Rambling Geek, welcome, good to see you. Glad you could make it. So this is just an ad hoc pop-up stream. Wanted to try and get a stream in this week, as it's been very difficult to find time, and also to kind of cope with the difficulties of work at the moment. So we've got a vending machine. This is going to be the emerald. So we need to create a new instance of the emerald class, and we need to pass in it some nouns which represent the items. So emerald is one. We could have jewel. Have we used jewel before? We've got jewelry, jewels, gems, jewelry. Yes, that's fine. Jewel will be fine. Yeah, that'll be fine. Yeah, I don't know how your work's going, Rambling Geek. I know you had a very difficult time with a ransomware attack a couple of weeks ago. So this is slightly, it's a bit similar, but it's just long going forever for the next several years. So I'm hoping to try and cope a little bit better than I am at the moment with the frustrations of not being in charge of my own destiny, which is the main issue really. That and caring about what happens in the project. If I didn't care, it wouldn't be a problem, but I do. One of the dangers of being a developer is you get yourself really invested in things, and it can be problematic for your health if you're not careful. And I don't think I'm being careful enough with my health, so we'll see. Okay, so we've got our emerald and our item factory, and we should now be able to create a new item. So here we have a list of items. In the plug room is the emerald, and let's just I can't remember. It's been, unfortunately, when I keep dropping in and out of these projects, it's pretty hard to remember exactly how to do everything. You can't get enough sleep, Rambling Geek. You always need more. Yeah, well, I know how that feels. I kind of lie awake mithering about stuff and then wake up in the early hours and mither as well. So it's difficult. I currently don't know what the solution is. I've talked to my boss, which is the first thing you should do. If you're having any kind of problems like this, talk to your boss, and hopefully they're the kind of boss who is actually understanding and maybe have experienced the same thing themselves, and actually takes you seriously and tries to. They can't solve the problems, but they can at least try and do something to support you, and that's what you need if you're in the situation that I'm in, really. So there's the bird chamber. There's a bird in there, so we can do that. So this is the what we need to pick. We need to use the item factory to get an instance of the emerald in this case. So that will be over here in the plover room. Let's just drop that in there, and this is going to be item factory get instance item emerald. We've got to bring a few namespaces in here. So let's get our adventure items namespace in, and that sorts that out. So we should have an emerald in there now. This is what I'm. The good thing about streaming, it doesn't help you with sleep, but it does take your mind off everything else. And all I can think at the moment is, how do I, once the player removes the emerald from the room, how do I change is dark from false to true? Because it will be dark because the emerald won't be shining in there. This chamber lit by an eerie green light, we'll see that text has got to change. But I don't know how to do that yet. Now, so far the code is I'll say so myself. It's reasonably well structured, and so it does seem to actually the solutions to this kind of problem are actually in the code. The code is structured in such a way that a lot of this stuff is soluble, but it may not be soluble while I'm just thought about it on stream. So we may have to give it some thought. Certainly things like the squeeze move we've created here, I knew we could do it. It was just I didn't really have a plan of how to do it. But it's so simple that it's, you know, as often you just put it to the back of your mind, and the solution's really blindingly obvious and simple. Okay. So we make sure we build. We'll do another test to make sure that everything looks okay. So we build okay, let's run our bot. So having a geek, you mean you seem to sit down and just fall asleep? You need so much of it. Yeah, that's slightly worrying, isn't it? So I understand why you mention it. What's the program called? So Kazez. This is the alpha bot. So this is my Twitch / Discord / Slack bot. This is it's fully customized. It was built from scratch. It's all in C#, and we've got loads of commands in there. This is the adventure game command, so text adventure game command in there. So let's go over here. So this is demonstrating it's now live in Slack. You can see the text alphabot is accepting commands has appeared also in Twitch. It will have also appeared on Discord. If I go to my Discord over here, you will see it's over here as well, because we're in all three locations at the same time. Okay, so here we type our adventure command adv, and alphabot is now talking to us on a private channel. In theory this is multiplayer. In practice it's not yet multiplayer. More than one person can enter the adventure, but I think it wouldn't actually play as a game, because although you can be in the same location and talk to each other and swap items, I don't know if we did the swapping items yet. That's one of the things we're going to do. I think that it actually doesn't work as a multiplayer game quite yet. because I think that it'd be possible for one player to take items and mean that other players couldn't progress. So we're going to go into the building. We're going to do a take all. Get all the items that are in the building. We've got the lamp, the key, the bottle and the food, and we're going to light our lamp. So yes, Kazez, if you are interested in the program, it's all up on GitHub. It's covered by an MIT open source license, which basically means if you want to copy the code, use it for your own purposes, you're perfectly free to do so. If you would like to contribute to the code that we're running here, then you're free to fork the repository and to submit PRs to the stream, and be very, very welcome to do that if you've got ideas how we could make the game better or to extend the gameplay. So now we're going to use our teleport command. I'll just put, in fact what I'll do is in chat the GitHub has just come up on chat anyway. Nightbot's just posted the GitHub link, so that's where we are if you want to go and look at the code. And I say I'm perfectly happy for you to take the code and use it for your own purposes. I know that one of our viewers, the legendary Moo, has done that, and I think his son is actually working with the code. Okay, so we've teleported to our alcove. If we have a look at where we are, so we see we've got this tight squeeze. We should once again be able to say go east, and it should say we can't do it. Far too tight a squeeze. So now we're going to do a drop all. So normally dropping all of our items and leaving them on as a big pile on the floor, this is one of those things where some other player could come and steal all those items, so it doesn't quite work as a multiplayer, though that's probably something which could happen. What we're dropping here is every item we're carrying, including our lamp. So the lamp turns off and it goes dark. Okay, but there is this eerie green light which is visible from the east, so we should be okay. So I'm going to go east. You breathe in, makes it as thin as possible, and you're in the plover room. So we should do a look, and we should see an emerald, shining emerald. So have a guess what I'm going to do now. I'm going to say, okay, DV, I want that emerald. Take the emerald, shining emerald, and now I'm going to say, okay, DV, go west, and it's far too tight. You can't go through while you're carrying the emeralds. So this is part one of the puzzle. You've got a nice, valuable treasure item, but you can't actually carry it out of the room. Now, I think we probably have got a bit of a problem with the game. Is if I use a magic word like X, Y, Z, Z, Y here. No, it doesn't do it. Could you just excuse me 1 second? I'll put you on rebuy. Be right back. I do apologise, that was just a telephone call which I had to take. Okay, so XY, so that's spelled wrong. ADV XYZZY is a magic word, and that nothing happens. Good. That's good, because what we don't want the player to be able to do is to magic their way out of this. ADV. The other magic word is plu. Nothing happens. So fantastic. So you have to be in certain locations for these magic words to work, and of course the solution to this puzzle is going to involve a new magic word. Okay, so let's just stop the game and cancel out the. This is the web front end to the bot, so you've got a number of commands and possibilities within the very simple web front end at the moment. So it's all working in MVC, so ASP.NET Core MVC. Okay. So we can now successfully, I believe, move this type into its own file. And then we've got to create the dark room. So let's build it in here. So a new dungeon room. And this is, in case you haven't seen the productivity tool we're using, it's called CodeRush. And that's a custom template that I built on stream with Mark Miller, who is the chief scientist over at DevExpress, and he is basically in charge of CodeRush development. And we built this together on stream, and along with a couple of other templates, just to make creating certain classes within the text adventure a lot easier. This is going to be the dark room. And you can see I'm just pressing the tab key and it's moving between these highlighted areas. So we define within the template areas that we can tab between. And you can notice I typed dark room up here, and you actually put dark room in these other two locations as well automatically. So it's really helpful in the dark room. So I've got the original game. And this is the text for the long description. Okay, so the valid move will be, so we're going to new player move, npm space, and this is going to be back to Plover. And that's going to be a south move. That's the only valid move, but there is a new item we need to create in here, which is going to be the Platinum Pyramid. So let's go and create that. So the first thing we do, as we did before with the emerald, we create an entry here in our enum. And in case you were involved in the Twitter poll to say, are you a trailing comma person or a not trailing comma person? I'm definitely a trailing comma person, so there we are. I always leave a trailing comma on the enums. I think it was that JavaScript question, but still it's equally applicable to C#. So that's that in the items. So we need now to create a class. Where's our emerald? We'll just build it off the emerald. So here's emeralds. Let's grab a copy of that. Put it down underneath. This is going to be platinum pyramid. Platinum pyramid and platinum pyramids. There won't be more than one, but we do have this opportunity to have plurals. So it's portable and it is treasure. The is treasure bit is important because that means that it it will score us points. If we take him back to the small brick building and drop the items in there, then we will score points. We do have actually a Ming vase, which if we drop at the small building will actually shatter into a million pieces and be worthless. So there's a little puzzle there that you have to solve, but I don't think we've addressed the dropping of the Ming vase yet. That's another thing that there's such a lot to do. This is, I don't know, it just seems like a project which kind of goes on and on and on. There's lots and lots of features which we need to implement. So let's move the platinum pyramid into its own file like that. I think that's all we need to do in there. We'll keep it up, and over in the dark room. Where's dark room go? Oh, we need to set the item factory up to create an instance of that. So let's just make a copy of the emerald, and then over here we'll do, if the item is platinum pyramid, then we're going to create a platinum pyramid. I can't think of any synonyms for pyramid, so we'll just call it pyramid. And over in platinum pyramid here, what we can do, we can put asterisks either side of the word pyramid. And on some clients, what will happen is that we'll get that in bold or in italics, and we can do that for the emeralds as well. It doesn't do it on chat, but it does do it, I believe, in Slack. Like that. That's just a bit of markup, or markdown, in fact. Okay. So let's go and place. We need to place the pyramid in the dark room. The dark room's over here. Oh, the dark room is currently living in with the. Where did I put it? In with the plover room, did I? Yeah, there it is. So in here, what we're going to say is we're going to create an instance of that. So this is a list. So we have a list initializer, and this is going to be item factory. .get instance. And then we're going to pass into that a copy of the game, and then we need our item enumerator, enum, enumerable, and there it is, pyramid. So that'll put a pyramid in there. We forgot this closing bracket there. So dark room is going to be. So we to say it's going to be level 1 and dark is true, and you can't get a light in here of course, because the only way into the room that we know of so far, you had to drop your lamp to squeeze through into the emerald room, so it's going to be dark and dangerous in here. There's going to be a chance, if you try moving around in here, a chance of falling down a pit. Okay, so let's move this to its own file. Move type to darkroom.cs. So did darkroom appear over here? Where did darkroom go? There it is. Lovely. So there should be a platinum pyramid in there, and we should not be able to see it if we wander into that room. So let's give that a go. So if there's anyone in chat who's not following, please do hit the follow button. We're trying to hit that 300 follower goal. It'd be very helpful if you're not a follower to do so. It's not, doesn't cost you anything, and it does help me out in my quest to get to 300 viewers. So that'd be really nice if you do find it within yourself to do that. Okay, so let's go over here. So ADV. Subscriptions. I do use subscriptions to purchase additional graphics and things for the stream. So the latest addition is down next to me. You can see Alf there, who's thinking about the code rewriting. Then here's Alf giving us a nice sharp salute. So that's been paid for by subscriptions. So that's a graphic that's been produced, an emote produced by Night Artist 86, who has done all our Alfs. So we got Alf giving a salute, Alf thinking about stuff, Alf in hype mode, and then Alf shocked at what code I've just written. Any kind of subscriptions that I do get are the money that gets raised when Twitch cough it up eventually. That gets ploughed straight back into the stream. It's not something, I don't make any money out of this stream. If you do feel like if you have Amazon Prime, for example, then the subscription would be free to you, and just gives me a little bit of a help in funding the stream and keeping it moving forward. And the more subscription slots I get, the more emotes I can offer you. So currently you've got 3 emotes. You've got the hype, the ponder, and the gasp emotes, and the salute, the sharp salute, would be a emote that would be available once we cross a certain threshold of subscription. So once again, if you do feel that you would like to kind of help support Codebase Alpha, then that would be fantastic if you subscribed. But so there's no pressure to do so. It's not a problem if you don't want to do that. Okay, so Alphabot. Let's go into the building again. I like this take all command that we've implemented. Makes it a lot easier to pick all those things up. Light our lamp. We'll use our test command, teleport. And we'll have a look. We're in the alcove. So this is the new piece of the dungeon that we've built now. And we're going to drop everything. Drop all. Lamp turns off. We're going to go east, squeeze through. Okay. Oops. There's the emerald. Take emerald. Stop shining at this point. So it should be dark in this room now, but it's not. So we're going to go northeast. In the dark room, pitch black, you can't see a thing. So we can't see that there's a treasure item in there. So we've got to figure a way as players, once we discover this little puzzle, we've got to figure a way of getting into this room while we've still got a lamp, and then getting out of the room with our 2 treasure items and our lamp still intact. So that's the nature of the puzzle, and we're not going to kind of present the solution to that puzzle today. So that's for another time. But yeah, it's quite a nice little puzzle, and I think back in the day it drove people quite nuts trying to solve that puzzle. So it's very much a classic text adventure puzzle. I'm sure there's a lot more devious ones that have been created since. I seem to remember playing some text adventures which were very, very convoluted. Like you chopped a tree down and did something, and then you went over somewhere else and then did something there, and then you brought that back to the tree, and then you made a boat out of the tree, and all kinds of stuff you had to do. The puzzles within this text adventure aren't quite so lengthy. They're fairly linear. There are some linked puzzles where you do several things, and there are some timed puzzles where things happen. For example, when we kill the dragon, if we go away and come back later, the dragon's body will have decayed, and there'll be a dragon's tooth. And I'm also thinking about some dragon's blood being recoverable in the little bottle as well, which might be fun. and then the tooth will be a treasure item, or maybe a magic item. Who knows? I haven't thought about it yet. And maybe the blood. I think in one of the variants of Colossal Cave, the blood is a magic item, which allows you to talk to animals. I think something like that anyway. So we may introduce those kind of features. Currently, we're on the 350 point version of Colossal Cave, so this is the minimal version. It's not the original. The original version didn't have all the fantasy elements in it. It was basically a caving simulator. The guy who wrote the original Colossal Cave was a caver. He was actually involved in mapping the real life caves, from which at least the entrance to this dungeon is based. But it was later taken by another person who added all the fantasy elements. And being a Dungeons and Dragons kind of player myself, I do like the fantasy elements to it. Right, let's have a look. So I've got my map here. Let me just mark up on the map that I've coded those areas. So we've got the 4 new rooms added. And what I think I'd like to do next is where are we? Where's our pictures? Let's have a look. Here's the map. I think we should create some more rooms, because although we can get to our Misty Cavern, etc., through the Oriental room, there's this large low room here, and there's a winding corridor which leads to this cavern. Sorry, to this chasm, where there's going to be a troll bridge. And what we're saying is part of the design of the dungeon is there's going to be a troll on the troll bridge, and that would mean that wandering monsters don't go anywhere near the troll on the bridge. So that what we're going to do is make this side chasm here, and the rest of this level 2 of the dungeon. And level 2 means basically that the wandering monsters, the dwarves and the pirate that we've got, they won't venture that far. So large low room. Let's cross these off. Okay, large low room. There's low room. Large low room. So we've got some exits from this room that we haven't coded yet. So there's a connection here with the Oriental room, which we should now be able to put in place. So let's do that first. This is going to be Oriental. So that's that. Then we've got the long and winding corridor, and we've got a dead end. The long winding corridor, I think, is the next thing we should do. I was thinking of the Beatles song, The Long and Winding Road then. Okay, so locations, long winding corridor. Let's create that. Oops. Once again, new dungeon room, making good use of our CodeRush templates this evening. So long winding corridor. Okay, we're going to need to create long winding corridor over in location. So let's go and create the enum for that. While we're here, we'll create southwest side of chasm, southwest of chasm, and we'll create northeast of chasm as well. We'll create troll bridge and northeast of chasm. So those are a few more rooms which we could possibly start to work on. So there's a puzzle around the troll as well, of course. The troll has got to be pacified in order to get past him. Okay, so long winding corridor. This will be long winding corridor as well. Long corridor. So I'll just go to the original. I've got the database, let's say a text database for the original game, which has got a lot of all the text in it. Let's see if we can find the original text for the long winding corridor. Let's do a find for winding. So they're probably in the original game didn't treating. Oh, there it is. A long winding corridor sloping out so sight in both directions. That'll be fine. Yeah, that'll be fine. A long winding corridor sloping out of sight in both directions. So there's no items inside it, but we have got some valid moves. So let's create a new player move, and this is going to be move to a low room. And looking at the map, that's going to be a northeast. And then we've got another one, a new player move, and this is going to go to southwest of Chasm, and that is going to be looks like it's basically up. So if we look at the map, we're talking about here, and we go north. To come out, we're going northeast, opposite of southwest, but this looks like it's going up. There's a hole there, so we're going up, and then we're going down to get into the long winding passage that way, so that'd be fine. That's a very simple location. We can move that off into its own file. And now we want the southwest side of the chasm. So a new dungeon room again. Southwest of chasm. And let's see what the original game called that. Just southwest of chasm. Southwest side of that chasm. And the southwest side of a chasm. a bit more text for the long description. Let's paste that in. Well, let's fix up the formatting here. So it says we're on the one side of a chasm, deep chasm. Heavy white mist rising up from below obscures all views from the far side. The southwest path leads away from the chasm into a winding corridor. That was southwest, wasn't it? So we want a new player move. This is going to be long winding corridor. And that's going to be southwest. Oops. Southwest. And so up doesn't make a lot of difference. Let's make that northeast. No, we can't make it northeast as well. Let's make it. Yeah, up's fine. And we'll add down as an option as well. Okay. So the way it works, all these things basically are synonyms. So we look for the first match in this list of possibilities. Okay. There's no items in this room, so we can then go ahead and move that. Move that to file. Now we want to Troll Bridge. New dungeon room. So Troll Bridge. And we're going to have a troll on it. Here we are. So let's just check out. Interesting that there's no mention of it in here, of the tree. Let's try bridge. So no bridge. Okay. So we'll have to make our own text up, which is fine. Looks like the troll wasn't part of the original game. So so what should we say? Troll Bridge. You are standing on a rickety wooden bridge. Standing on a rickety wooden bridge that spans a wide and deep chasm. That should be fine. So, new player move here is going to be if we go northeast. So this is going to go to northeast of chasm. So if we go northeast here, then we go there, and there's going to be a bit of a problem though, because at the moment we haven't put the troll in place, but we won't do that tonight. Southwest of chasm is going to be southwest. SW. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll we need to put a blocker in here, don't we? We need to block this northeast movement. Control. And what we'll do is we'll use a similar technique that we use with a large and fearsome snake which appeared earlier in the dungeon, which is documented on the stream video on demand or on YouTube. So if you want to go and check that out, check out YouTube. I'll just post my YouTube channel actually into chat. So do feel free to go and look at the all past videos on there. This video will go onto YouTube after 24 hours here. If you would like to subscribe on YouTube, that's fantastic. It's completely free to do so. It does help me out if you do that. Once again, just boost my kind of presence on YouTube. This channel's only been going since February. We've had a few ups and downs with the channel. The main problem we've had recently is I've been working on a C++ project with making synthesizer plugins, and the software I'm using doesn't play with OBS, so that's why we've kind of reverted to looking at the text adventure for today. But what we're doing from Monday is we've got a brand new series of videos and streams which are all about shaders. So WebGL shaders. So I've got Fuel Snable, who's a good friend of the show, has been done a couple of partner shows with me. He's going to be coming on and showing us how to code, beginning with 2D shaders using GLSL, which is the kind of C-like language which we use to program shaders, and then we're going to kind of try and progress to doing kind of 3D work with ray tracing. So I don't know how long that series will last. It'll only be a short series, 2, 3, maybe 4 episodes, but it should be really interesting as an introduction to kind of a very interesting and kind of mesmerising pastime of writing shaders and getting beautiful graphics for very little effort, and just a little bit of investment in some simple mathematics with vectors, and understanding some quite simple kind of concepts which you can use to produce the most fantastically complicated designs. And Fuel Snable will show us some of those things that can be done to kind of get us excited about what can be done with shaders, and then we'll kind of try and draw a circle basically, and then take it from there. So that should be really good fun, and it's something I haven't really seen on a stream before. So there may be streamers who've done it, but I don't know of any that have done it. So do like to try and do things that maybe other people haven't done so frequently on this channel. I think writing this text adventure is inside a chat bot is one of the things that hasn't really been maybe done too much. Okay, so we need to block that exit by the with a troll, so we'll do that we'll do that probably next time. So we've got that, and we can actually create the other side of the chasm here. So this is going to be the northeast of chasm. Let's create that. So northeast here, one side of a large chasm, a northeast. Northeast path leads away from the chasm into a long, east-west passage. And then we've got here, we want to go what's he complaining about? Let's move that into its own type. Let's come to Troll Bridge. What's this complaining? Must have a return type. What's it talking about? Let's build it again. Oh, I know why. We didn't build the entire class, we just did a constructor. So now we can do it. It's actually going to be north east of chasm. There we go. Like that, and then we need to fix this up. So north, east, northeast, and northeast path leads away from chasm into a east-west. Passage along a narrow east-west passage. And then here, so we're on the So here we want to go to Troll Bridge, and then there'll be a new player move here, which is going to go somewhere. This is going to be northeast. Northeast. I'll just comment that one out because that's where we're going to stop, I think. And that is going to go to a fork in the path. And we can move that now into its own file. Okay, so let's just create a troll just as a bit of fun. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at the snake. So the snake is very similar to what we want in terms of creating our troll. We're just going to copy this and call it a troll. So I think we need to go to our items here, and we need to add a troll. And we need to go to item factory. And we need to create a troll here. So we've done this several times this evening, so you should be familiar with this. So this is going to be troll. And troll. And our snake here, this is going to be a troll. Troll. So we'll just put some text in here for now. So this is not quite what the troll actually looks like. The troll is going to appear from under the bridge as trolls do, and it's going to demand some treasure in order to let you buy. But we'll just put a placeholder in there for now. And now we should be able to drop the troll into the location. So the snake is handled in the Hall of the Mountain King. And as you can see, what we do here, in order to kind of put the troll in, the snake in place, we have it an item which kind of you expect it will appear in the room, and then the player move that goes the player move which if you go south, north or east, west, whatever, basically we print out the text, a vicious looking snake bars your way, and we actually return the player to where they came from, so they can't actually move in south, north or west in this, or down even in this instance. They just end up where they are, but they see this piece of text. So that's what we're going to do with our troll initially, and we'll try and make that a bit cleverer next time. So let's go to the troll bridge, which is here, and this is going to be our actual exit that we're going to create eventually, but we'll have a new player move here, and this is going to be we're going to come back to the troll bridge basically, and this is going to be northeast. So if we try and cross the bridge and go northeast, we're going to get blocked, and here we're going to say a troll, a huge green skinned troll squats on the bridge, blocking your way and demanding treasure to let you pass. And we're going to use interactions. We're going to interact with the troll in order to swap this blocked player move out and put in this player move where we can cross. This is when troll pacified. Okay, so we need to put the troll in place. So this is a list of items that are in the room, and this is going to be an item factory. Item factory dot get instance. We need to bring the namespace for item factory in. And it's going to be we're going to pass in a copy of the game, and we're going to pass in item.troll. So that will place a troll in the room. And we're going to have to deal with the fact people might try and kill the troll, but they won't be allowed to kill the troll. So there's quite a few interactions with the troll that we're going to have to code up. So let's just prepare for that. So here's the troll. So let's look at the bird is a good example of something with an interaction on it. So I think what we can do is grab this interaction method, this override of interaction, pop that on the troll. We can just remove all of the text in there, I think. We can actually possibly grab all of that there, remove that. Oh no, I think that's pretty good in there. We want the link namespace to be brought in there for that. I don't particularly want anything in there, and we need to add an interaction like this. So the dragon might be a good example here. So let's go to the dragon. There's a kill interaction. And we'll just comment that out for now. So that's just it requires a bit more thought to figure out exactly all of the interactions we want to have on the troll. So if we try to kill the troll, it's gonna come back with some. I think it's gonna basically do the old with your bare hands business as well, just like with the dragon. If you throw a axe at it, I think the troll's just going to catch the axe and keep it, but it's not going to count as a treasure item. You need to give it something which is marked as treasure. So we also need to figure out the syntax of giving things to the troll, and doing that on stream's not ideal, so that's something I need to think about. Okay, so we've been going for what, nearly 2 hours now. So let's just give this a run. Let's make sure we build first. Give it a run through. So where do I need to teleport to? I'll just mark up on my personal map the rooms we've done. So if we teleport to the large low room, that should be the best place to go. Let's go to our teleport command over here. Instead of alcove, we'll say a low room, and we'll run up and we'll see what happens. Okay. Here we are in Slack. Run the adventure. Okay, private message. We'll go into the building again. And take call. So I've shown people what's in all these rooms prior to this. So when we light our lamp, and then we'll just do our test command, which is our teleport command. And we should be in the large low room. We are. So crawls need north, south, east and southwest, and we want to go southwest. I should have crawl as a synonym for great. Can't get direction. Try to look see go. Okay, so done something wrong, so let's go and have a look at the low room. Stop. So it's a good job we did run these tests, isn't it? So let's go to the low room. So I haven't unblocked that, so there we go. That location should be long winding corridor. And we've got this dead end we need to code, but coding a dead end is a bit boring, so we won't do that now. What's wrong with that? Is that just a marker? I think it's just a marker. Let's build, make sure. Yeah. So Code Rush has this fantastic thing with these markers which you can drop, and I think it's just a marker that's left over. Okay, Coatley Beard, Copper Beardy, sorry, thank you for dropping by. I'm going to be finishing in any minute anyway, so thanks for sticking with me for the stream. It's been really great having you there. Okay, this one again. So that they on GitHub the entire bot's on there. So if you want to have a good start at a Twitch bot which also connects to Discord and Slack, then do visit the Discord, the GitHub, and have a good look at that code. You can take the code you want if you want to play with it, if you want to use it for your own bot. That's fine. It's an open source MIT license. You're free to do with whatever you buy permission to whatever you want with it. If you want to take it and use it. I do have a Discord. If you do decide to do that and you run into any problems, you need any help, then just join my Discord. There's your personal invite to my Discord, and just post a message in there saying that you're trying to get the alpha bot or your version of alpha bot up and running. It probably does need a bit more documentation that's available on the GitHub site, but I can help you get it running. There's a few kind of tweaks and things you need to do. I did have one person, who's the legendary Moo, who did get it working, and since then I have improved some of the kind of configuration of it, so it should be a bit easier these days to get it working. Once it's working, it's pretty problem free. Okay, so now we can go to Slack and we can join our adventure. And we'll do the same as we did before. Go into the building, take all, light our lamp, teleport command will be removed eventually. It's only for testing, so we can get to different places really. So ADV go southwest, wasn't it? Forwarding corridor. So make sure the text looks okay. So I would say go southwest. I think we need to add that. It's actually up at the moment, so we do need to change that so you can go southwest. Southwest side of a cavern. That looks okay. So go ADV, go northeast. Oh, that's interesting. So we're in the southwest side of the chasm. Southwest side of chasm. So I haven't got away onto the bridge. Oh darn, as they say. Yes, bit of shock from Alf. Okay, well let's put that in. I think we'll stop the stream because obviously it's working okay. Let's just put that move onto the troll bridge in place. So this is troll bridge, and it's going to be northeast, and we'll also do the long winding corridor fix as well. Let's save that long winding corridor, right, as well as we want southwest in here as well. Put those up. Northwest, southwest. So that purple underline there is code, which is spell checker. That's checking me out. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I think that we'll just make sure it builds, make sure I have any silly mistakes before we check in. So I'm going to commit these changes locally and then push to GitHub. So this is going to be episode 60. And there's quite a few changes there, so we'll commit those. And we'll sync to GitHub. And if you're interested, that code will be there for you to use, peruse, or whatever as you will. So that's up there now. So let's go and find someone who we can raid. Let's switch off that. Go over to Twitch. And let's find a raid party. Oh, we've got. Oh, I don't know if you're interested. I do follow Kit Boga, who does scam baiting. Perhaps don't want to do that. Let's go to Ed Charbonneau. Right? Should we go to Ed Charbonneau or Calvin Harris?
I'm playing a better class. Am I right?
Blazer. You fancy some Blazer? Let's go to Ed Charbonneau, shall we?
Upgraded version of Warrior.
Create dashboard. So do stay with me for the raid and spam Ed's chat with emotes. So over to Ed Charbonneau's stream for some Blazer. Thank you so much for joining. It's been a real pleasure to have this pop-up stream, and I'll see you either Sunday the weekend or the next big stream will be our shaders, WebGL shaders stream on Monday at 8 o'clock UK time. So thank you for joining me, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.